For our presentation, we decided to present on how social media harms children's ability to communicate. We've broken this into four sections, which we have taken on evenly. The first section will be the reduced connections that come as a result of spending so much time on social media, which will be presented on by Will. Second is the reduced face-to-face interactions, which Sinai will be presenting on. Third is increased anxiety in real life situations, which Macy will be presenting on. And then finally, it is going to be difficulty with deep attention, which I'll be presenting on. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead.
All right. So reduced connection and reduced sympathy is what I'm going to be presenting on, as Christian mentioned. So for basics, like being anonymous on various social media websites makes it where you're makes it where you can like break social taboos without consequence. And since you're anonymous on there, like you're not going to get punished for that most of the time. There are exceptions to this, obviously, but that isn't the norm. And in a lot of those social media websites, you're rewarded for breaking social taboos or saying something shocking by getting a lot of likes, a lot of like reposts, a lot of whatever you may want on there. Especially when you're going against someone with like a viewpoint that differs from your own, you're going to get like from people who share your viewpoints. For example, like if you say something against a politician or something that you dislike, then people who also dislike that politician are going to like swarm you with like praise most of the time.
Now I'll talk about the reduced connections from face-to-face interactions. I said that one. Okay, so basically, reduced face-to-face interactions due to social media can obstruct kids' social and emotional development. Skills like empathy, handling social cues, and reading body language are very crucial social skills to learn. And because of social media, um, kids aren't learning them as well. Some social media reduces face-to-face interactions by causing time displacement, shallow digital interactions, and distractions through present moments. Because of I'm sorry guys. Dr. Brian Reed explains that missing out on embodied interactions as adolescents deprives kids of opportunities to developing skills such as making and maintaining relationships, critical thinking, empathy, and working on a team, leadership, and serving their communities. During shallow digital interactions, there is a lack of depth, a lack of complex in person communication, and children miss out on nonverbal communication cues. These nonverbal cues include seeing facial expressions, um, hearing the tone of voice, and studying body language. With time displacement, excessive social media use is happening, and there's time less spent on childlike activities. Because of distractions from present moments, the urge to check social media makes it hard for kids to focus during conversations or have interest in activities. These activities include going outside or joining clubs or socializing with friends and family. And because of that, there's a constant interruption caused by endless phone notifications, which makes it harder for young people to engage deeply with tasks or build real world connections, according to Michael Blastos.
So, next we have increased anxiety in real life interactions. And for my definition, I got when normal occasional worry becomes persistent, excessive, and interferes with daily functioning. So, oh, thank you. What it can look like is you can have a sense of danger, you can have increased heartbeat, sweating and trembling, and tiredness, crankiness, all that. Children and Screen says a third of teens report almost constant daily use of social media platforms alone, and nearly half 11 to 12-year-olds who own phones lose track of how much they use them. So, this is a big problem. Um, so, you may ask, what are some signs of increased effects of real life interactions? So there's trouble reading body language because you're so used to going on the screen. There's no connection. So when you're in a real life interaction, you don't know how someone is expressing themselves through their body language. You're so used to no public interaction that it increases public anxiety. No social cues. You don't know the exact tone online because there's a lot of kids that they'll read something online and they don't know what tone someone is using. So they can't really process tone very well as much in person. No practice on communication because you're not face to face with someone. You can't properly comfort people online either. So that's a big thing because you're not one on one with the person. Like you can't hug them online, you can't comfort them. So then, oh, signs of digital addiction for kids would be inability to stop using technology. That's a basic. Neglecting important life areas. So like, it can be like not going to class or work because you're focused on technology. Not going, like taking a walk. Um, withdrawal. So crankiness. Changes in hygiene. So that's pretty straightforward. And that's what children'sandscreens.org says. So, and then for research, American Psychological Association says more children engage with electronic screens, the more likely they are to develop socio-emotional problems. And usually it's between the range of 6 and 10-year-olds who are more likely to develop socio-emotional problems with greater screen use. They also explain how they found that increased screen time can lead to emotional behavior problems. So,
Great. So yeah, I once again, like I said earlier, I'm going to be focusing on difficulty with deep attention. Before we get into that, I would like to define what deep attention is. We can just go forward real quickly. See, perfect. All right, so yeah, deep attention is the ability to focus on one task or conversation for an extended period of time without becoming distracted. This is defined by Hills in page 187 of her article. It is essential for meaningful communication because it helps us to listen closely, helps us to process complex ideas, and to respond thoughtfully to those complex ideas. Without these things, communication becomes a lot more difficult. So, how does social media negatively impact deep attention? If we can just skip forward real quick to the next slide, I will go over that. Perfect. So, yeah, just a few ways that social media hurts deep attention. First way is with the constant alerts and notifications that one gets because of social media. This really interrupts your concentration, which, when you're so young, having constant interruptions to your concentration, that can be very harmful to your developmental cycle. How many times have you been trying to get a task done or a chore done, and then you hear your phone go off from across the room, and then you go over there to check it, your flow state is broken, and then before you know it, you've been scrolling for the next 2 hours. It is the same way with this. It is very harmful for concentration. And then the next point that I like to make is kind of the basis for the two that I make after is the short form content that has become so prevalent on social media nowadays. It trains your brain to expect quick forms of gratification. It's like really quick hits of dopamine, which as a result, it hurts attention span because children are just so used to these shorter videos that they're going to pay attention to, that they don't really have to watch for a long time. And studies have shown negative effects on children's attention spans because of these short form videos that are so everywhere on social media. Gen Alpha's attention span is around 8 seconds, which is a second shorter than that of a goldfish, which is quite concerning. And then finally, the surface level engagement that comes with these short form videos, which children don't really have a chance to get too deeply engaged because it's just such a short video. There's no chance for that to happen. So when deep attention is hurt by social media or just hurt in general, how does this affect communication? If we can go back to the first slide really quickly, that'd be great. Thank you. So yeah, the way that this affects communication is it results in shallow listening, which makes it harder to follow and respond in discussions. Reduced empathy, which really just with it, deep attention helps us to understand others' perspectives. Without it, conversations become a lot more transactional, which is what you're seeing a lot of nowadays with the newer generations. Impatience in dialogue and shorter attention spans, they kind of go hand in hand. Children find it harder to stay engaged in conversations that require nuance or long explanations. And then finally, less emotional connection. Again, a lot more surface level. Children aren't really willing to go too deeply into understanding what they're talking about. So, really, in conclusion, all of this can be harmful to children having their deep attention be impacted negatively by social media. But for children, especially when this is happening during such a developmental time in their lives, it's almost as if these things are being baked into them, right? Because, like again, it's so developmental. So this is what they're getting used to. This is what they're going to grow up knowing, and eventually have it be hurting their lives. That's all for me.
Alright, let me just skip ahead a bit. Alright, so in conclusion, social media, well, it does affect everyone. It especially affects children who are still developing, who are still learning the rules of a society they've been born to. Like, our generation, we were definitely affected by social media growing up, but the generations after us is only getting worse. Children today are losing real life connections. They're limiting for face to face interactions. They have more anxiety from those interactions, and they struggle with keeping attention, as was mentioned earlier. The common pros that you could see throughout this presentation was that they've had reduced time practice of social skills, making them worse at it overall. They're getting distracted more by social media, whether it be from notifications or from social media itself, or the reduced attention span that comes with social media. And then they're also being exposed to more sensitive topics early on, which makes it hard to empathize with like more personal level problems that they face.